Alrighty, welcome to this episode of Lectures with Liddington. Today we are going to talk about the last grouping, the last category of macromolecules found in living things. This last group, you'll notice you're not going to find them on nutrition labels. So we've seen carbohydrates, lipids, and proteins listed on those labels. Nucleic acids, you're not going to find that. And that's because of their very specific function. Nucleic acids have a very specific function, and that function is genetic information. So they store and transmit or send out genetic information, and that is the information that tells the cell what to do, tells the cell what it is, tells you who you are. So things like your height, whether or not you have a hitchhiker's thumb, whether or not you have a widow's peak, other organisms for plants, for example, the color of the flower, the shape of a leaf. Those things are parts of their genes. They're part of their genetic information, and that's stored in the pattern of nucleic acids. Notice over here we have a DNA molecule that's made up of nucleic acids. So let's talk a little bit more about that structure. So over here, we have the monomer of nucleic acids. The monomer of nucleic acids is a nucleotide. Over here, this is our nucleotide, and it has three specific parts. This is our phosphate group over here. Remember, functional groups, phosphate groups. Yep, so every nucleotide has a phosphate group attached to it. We have a 5-carbon sugar over here. That sugar will change depending on what kind of molecule we're making, but there's always going to be a sugar there. And then a nitrogenous base. This is our base here. Nitrogenous because it's made of nitrogen. So what's composing our nucleic acids? CHOMP. CHONP. We've got carbons, hydrogens, oxygens, nitrogens in our nitrogenous base, and phosphorus in our phosphate group. Right, so we have all of those components. We have more elements here. We actually see phosphorus show up now. So this is our monomer, the nucleotide. When we take those and put them together, we make our polymer, which is a polynucleotide, right? Many nucleotides together. There are two different types of polynucleotides, and they are DNA and RNA. Here's our DNA molecule over here, and here's our RNA molecule. Each one of these is a nucleotide. So you take a whole bunch of nucleotides and put them together, and the order of those will store the genetic information. Over here, you'll have that chain of nucleotides, but it will also be attached to another chain. That's what we call complementary. It matches it. So how does this build up within the cell? It's not just like, here's a chunk of information. What we do is, so we start with our monomer, our nucleotide. We take a whole bunch of them and line them up together. That's where we get our DNA. So we take a bunch, we line them up, and then we take the complementary strand. So it's the matching strand. You guys might remember this A to T and C to G, right? There are specific letters that match each other. So we take our nucleotides and we make a strand, and then we match up the other piece of that strand. So it's a double helix, right? So it's kind of like a ladder. If you line it up, it looks like a ladder. So we take that ladder, and it's kind of messy. So DNA is a really long molecule. In order to make it neater, we take that really long molecule and we wind it all up. When we wind it all up, we get chromosomes. So this is how we would see DNA inside of a cell. All right, so now let's stop and make some nucleic acids.